In this podcast episode, David Morehouse discusses his involvement in Freemasonry and how he became involved in remote viewing. He explains that Freemasonry is a school designed to teach individuals how to live a life of integrity and purpose, and it is not the nefarious organization that it is often portrayed as. He also delves into the history of Freemasonry, its origins in the 16th century, and its connection to the Knights Templars. Morehouse then goes on to discuss remote viewing, a controversial intelligence collection methodology that he was involved in teaching to police departments. He explains that remote viewing is a learned process and not a natural ability, and he emphasizes the importance of formal training in the protocol. He also addresses the misconceptions and misuse of the term remote viewing in popular culture. The conversation then shifts to the origins of remote viewing, which began in 1972 when the CIA became aware of the Chinese and Russian efforts in clairvoyance and psychic abilities. This led to the establishment of a research project at Stanford Research Institute International, where Morehouse was involved. The project aimed to investigate and validate human abilities to see distant events in space and time, as well as to identify individuals with a propensity for these abilities. Morehouse explains that the research concluded that remote viewing is an inherent ability in every human being, not unique to specific individuals. He also mentions the existence of peer-reviewed research in pediatric psychiatry that supports the idea of children having an understanding of their pre-existence and purpose before birth. The conversation then touches on the topic of brain research and its correlation with extrasensory abilities. Morehouse acknowledges that there have been studies on the human brain, particularly the basal ganglia, which have shown differences in individuals with extrasensory abilities. He also mentions the work of Dr. Gary Nolan, who conducted MRI scans on individuals who had encountered UFOs and found differences in their brain structure. He discusses a poll conducted by CNN in the late 70s and early 80s, which revealed that 98% of respondents believed in something beyond the physical, while 76% did not believe they would ever realize or interact with it during their lifetime. Morehouse emphasizes the importance of transitioning from believing to knowing, as it can be a transformative experience in a person's life. Morehouse also shares his experience with publishing his book, Psychic Warrior, while he was an active Army officer. He explains that he did not go through the standard protocol for publishing a book, as the content was classified. He faced backlash from the CIA and other agencies, but he believed that the transformative effect of learning remote viewing was important enough to share with the public. The podcast delves into Morehouse's involvement in a project at Skinwalker Ranch, where he applied remote viewing to gather intelligence. He explains that remote viewing allows individuals to access information beyond time and space, whether it's in the present or the past. Morehouse also discusses the challenges he faced in presenting the extensive data collected through remote viewing in a concise and understandable manner for the project. He describes an experience where he was trained in extended remote viewing, which led to a vivid out-of-body experience where he felt like he was standing in an eclipse and then shot straight up into the sky before falling back to Earth. Morehouse also shares that these experiences continued to happen after his time in the Special Access Program. Morehouse also delves into the theoretical underpinnings of remote viewing, discussing concepts such as particle wave theory and the omnipresent and omnidirectional nature of waveforms. He highlights the importance of feedback in the remote viewing process and the need to establish a statistical rating based on the quantifiable attributes of the target. Morehouse also delves into the idea of event arcs of time, which are the collective and individual experiences of specific moments in time. He explains that remote viewers are tasked with accessing specific moments in time based on a target concept provided by a program manager. The program manager assigns coordinates to the remote viewers, who then enter an altered brainwave state to detect, decode, and objectify the information related to the target concept. The podcast also explores the limitations of remote viewing, including the need for multiple viewers to provide correlation and trends in the data. Morehouse emphasizes that remote viewing should be used in conjunction with other intelligence collection methodologies and should not be considered a standalone endeavor. Throughout the podcast, Morehouse provides insights into the complexities of remote viewing, the challenges of interpreting information from the collective unconscious, and the potential applications of this practice in various fields.